Hi, I, 35F, am the black sheep of my family, or at least that's what they've always said. Growing up, I was the quiet, nerdy one, not into parties, sports, or big family gossip. My siblings, one older brother, 38M, and one younger sister, 30F, were always the golden kids. My brother was the athlete, and my sister was the charming one. I was just the girl who read too much. My parents didn't treat me badly per se, but I was always the afterthought. Forgotten birthdays, skipped dance recitals, last-minute gifts, that kind of subtle neglect that builds resentment over time. I left home at 18 for college with no emotional support. No one helped me pack. My mom cried more when my brother moved 2 streets over than when I moved states away. I got a degree in computer science, landed a decent job, started building my life. I never asked my parents for help, and they never offered it either. Meanwhile, my brother got a house down payment from them. My sister got a new car when she graduated high school. I got a call saying, "Congrats," after I emailed them about my promotion. Despite all that, I tried to stay close. I visited for holidays, sent birthday gifts, even hosted Christmas once. But it always felt one-sided. I was just the aunt with no kids, the career woman. Then, 3 years ago, things started to shift. My father had a stroke. It wasn't life-threatening, but it left him unable to work or drive. Suddenly, my mom was overwhelmed. My brother and sister both lived nearby, but neither of them stepped up much. They'd drop by or send food, but not real support. I live 4 hours away, but I started visiting twice a month. I helped with bills. I fixed things around the house. I drove my dad to appointments. For the first time in forever, my parents seemed to appreciate me. They said things like, "You've always been reliable," and "I don't know what we'd do without you." It felt good. Finally. Like I mattered. Like I was seen. I even cried one night driving home, just from the validation I had waited decades to hear. But of course, it didn't last. 6 months later, my brother lost his job. Then, a month after that, my sister got divorced and moved back in with my parents, with her 2 kids. Suddenly, everything shifted again. My visits were in the way. My suggestions were too controlling. And once again, I was the outsider. They started canceling plans we had. I'd drive 4 hours just to find out my mom had gone to a family thing, without telling me. Then, the tipping point, I overheard my mom on the phone with my aunt, saying, "We appreciate her help, but she's kind of a burden now. She doesn't understand how things work here." That broke me. After everything, all the effort, all the gas money, all the time off work, I was just a burden again. I didn't confront them. I just stopped. I didn't visit. I didn't call. I sent a message saying I needed space. No one responded. Months passed. No one checked on me. Not a text. Not an email. Not even a birthday message. I cried on my couch alone that day, fully aware that I didn't matter to them. And then, about almost 8 months later, my mom called me crying. Turns out my brother moved out after getting a new job across the country. My sister found a new boyfriend and left the kids with my parents, temporarily, 3 months ago. My parents were overwhelmed. Bills piling up. Appointments missed. My dad's condition worsening. My mom begged me to come help. I told her calmly that I couldn't. I had just accepted a promotion and would be relocating myself. She went silent. Then said, "I didn't think you'd abandon us like this." I wanted to scream. I wanted to say, "You abandoned me years ago." But I just said, "I hope you find the support you need." And hung up. A week later, my sister called me furious. Said I was heartless. That I was punishing them. That family helps family. I asked her where she was living. She said she was figuring things out. I said, "Maybe you should go figure things out with the people you dumped your kids on." She blocked me. Then my brother tried. He was calmer, said he understood but asked if I could just visit to ease the load. I asked, where were you when I needed that? He said nothing. Now no one talks to me. My extended family has taken sides. Half think I'm ungrateful. The other half didn't even know I existed until this drama. But here's the thing, I finally feel free. I've always carried guilt, always tried to earn a place in my own family. But now that I've let it go, I've started therapy. I've started dating. I've started living for me. Do I feel bad for my parents? Yes. Do I deserve to be the default caretaker just because I was the only one willing before? No. I've spent my life being invisible to them. Now I'm choosing to be invisible on purpose. I do miss my nieces. I sometimes think about sending them cards or gifts, but I know my sister would use it against me. Maybe one day, when they're older, they'll find me. Maybe not. But I won't force myself into a family that only sees my worth when it's convenient. There's a kind of peace in silence. I'm learning to sit with it, instead of constantly begging for noise. If they ever apologize, truly apologize, maybe I'll listen. But I'm not holding my breath. I've learned not to wait for people who never show up. So yeah. That's how I went from the forgotten daughter to the one who finally said no. Not out of spite, out of survival. Update. Hi again. About 5 months after I stopped all contact, I got an email from my mom. The subject line was, "We need to talk. It's serious." She said my dad had another small stroke and they were going to lose the house. She asked if I could co-sign a loan to help, just temporarily. I didn't answer right away. I forwarded the email to my therapist. She asked me what I wanted to do, not what I felt obligated to do. And I realized. I wanted to be done. Fully done. But I also wanted them to understand that this was their doing. So I responded. I said, "I'm sorry for what you're going through. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to help anymore. That stopped being my role when I stopped being your priority." I expected silence or insults. Instead, I got an email from my cousin, the one who always stayed out of family stuff. She said my mom had started a GoFundMe and shared it with the family. The title? Daughter Abandons Elderly Parents in Time of Need. Yup. They made my absence into a campaign. It had photos of my dad in the hospital, exaggerated stories about me cutting them off, after all they sacrificed, and even a fake quote saying I refused to care for my dying father. I was livid. I reported the fundraiser for misinformation. It was supposed to be taken down in 24 hours, it wasn't. Then I got a lawyer. Not to sue them, though I considered it. But to send a formal cease and desist for defamation and to block any future attempts to drag my name publicly. It worked. The fundraiser vanished. So did the fake posts on Facebook. But the damage in the family chat was done. People started reaching out, asking what really happened. And I finally told them. Screenshots. Emails. Messages. Silence. Turns out, I wasn't the only one they mistreated. A couple of cousins said my mom had borrowed money and ghosted them. One aunt said she raised my mom's kids more than my mom did. Slowly, people started siding with me, not publicly, but privately. And I didn't want revenge. But I did want closure. So I made a post of my own. No dragging, no insults. Just a timeline of everything. Dates. Receipts. And at the end, a simple sentence. Family isn't who's related to you. It's who respects you. I didn't tag anyone. But I knew they'd see it. The silence that followed was louder than any fight we ever had. Then, weeks later, my sister showed up at my new apartment. She looked exhausted. Said her new boyfriend left, and she was trying to raise the kids alone. She asked if I could help, just until she got back on her feet. I asked, "Where are the kids now?" She said, "With Mom." I asked, the same mom who told everyone I abandoned them? She started crying, saying she was sorry, that she didn't know things had gone that far. I told her I forgave her, but I wouldn't forget. I gave her a number for a women's shelter that helps with housing and job placement. She didn't like that. She asked why I wouldn't just be a sister. I said, I am a sister you forgot existed and now has boundaries. She walked away. That was 3 months ago. Since then, I haven't heard from her. My parents are still struggling, from what I've been told. But I don't lose sleep over it. I've built a new life. New friends. A relationship with someone who actually values emotional health. And a cat that treats me better than my whole bloodline. I used to wonder if I was the problem. Now I realize, the only thing I did wrong was stay too long in a place that for some reason didn't want me. So yeah. That's the update. My revenge, it's just moving on and letting people sit in the mess they created when you're no longer there to clean it up. And honestly, I finally feel free and good about myself. So what you think? Share, like and subscribe for more.